one advantage of being an early speaker is that you don't get upstaged by the later ones. So I'm able to say, I don't have to revise what I intended to say. Swami Vivekananda really did not want to be the exponent of Vedanta that he certainly became. Sri Ramakrishna told him that he would have to teach, he would have to spread Vedanta, spread the knowledge of spirituality, spread the knowledge of religion. And Swami Vivekananda replied that he did not want to do that. Sri Ramakrishna then told him, your very bones will make you do that. So, but it took a while for Swami Vivekananda to really be convinced of that. He went all through India, and when he came to the southern part of India, Kanyakumari, it was not until he got to that point in his pilgrimage throughout India that he became convinced that there was something definitely that Sri Ramakrishna expected him to do, that he had been given a message, he had been given an obligation. It was at Kanyakumari that he sat on what he called the last bit of Indian rock. I don't know how many of you have been to Kanyakumari. I have been there, and Swami Vivekananda swam from the shore to a small island that is present off the shore. And if you've seen the water at that place, nobody in his right mind would want to jump in there and try to swim that, because it's the junction of three oceans, as they say. The Bay of Bengal, the Indian Ocean, and the Arabian Sea. In a sense, they all three come there at the very tip of India. And the water is enormously rough with very high waves, even when there is no particular wind or storm. But Swami Vivekananda swam across that, which itself shows how strong he was, how very fit he was. And he sat there, as he said, on the last bit of Indian rock, looking back at the whole continent. He had traversed the whole of India. From Bengal, he had proceeded across North India, visiting many of the kingdoms and states along the path all the way down to the south. So he had experienced a great deal of India and what she represented, what her people represented, the great ideals and the needs of the present day. And when he got to Kanyakumari, he decided to swim out from the main continental mass of India to that island, in a sense, so that he could get some distance and look more objectively at the whole panoply of Indian civilization from its very ancient and glorious past to the present problems that he was witnessing and had witnessed. And sitting on that last bit of Indian rock, as he said, he hit upon a plan. And it was an extraordinary plan. Probably never before in Indian history had really such a plan dawned in the mind of a person who could actually realize that which he was dreaming or thinking about. He suggested the idea that the present problems could most appropriately be addressed by a band of all-renouncing monks. Now that itself was totally against the tradition and against the normal history of the Indian people. Monks were supposed to give up the world, were supposed to spend their time totally concentrating on the spiritual ideal, on God, the spiritual consciousness, attaining an actual realization of that. That was to be the only goal, and this world was to be renounced. Renunciation was the message of the spiritual tradition of India, as indeed it was also of Europe. If you look at the history of Europe in the Middle Ages and earlier, the first monks were actually in the very first decades after the passing away of Jesus. The first monks established themselves in the Egyptian desert. So there is a natural for people who have a desire to understand what is real here from what appears. There is a natural tendency to move away from the circumstances, from the surroundings, so that they can devote themselves exclusively to a search for the infinite and the eternal. So this was Swami Vivekananda's and tradition's general idea. But at Kanyakumari, a new program came into existence. You could say a new monasticism came into existence, because Swami Vivekananda saw that the best help for the present conditions was a band of all-renouncing monks. And later on, of course, a band of all-renouncing sannyasinis also came into existence. But the idea was that the renunciates, the ones who really want to search for the infinite and the eternal and concentrate on that rather than concentrating on the normal aspects of what is expected in family and social life. So Vivekananda wanted to use that power, that renunciation power, to rejuvenate the land. And this is actually what happened. But at first, he was uncertain whether really that was what Sri Ramakrishna wanted him to do or not. So he sent a letter to Holy Mother in Calcutta from this Kanyakumari, from the very tip of India and his general area of where he was moving. He sent a letter to Holy Mother to check whether this idea that he had of the use of a monastic community to search or try to arrive at a resuscitation of the whole land, whether that was a reasonable thing or not. He had received an invitation to go to America to speak at the Parliament of Religions. And he felt that if he was to do something for India, his disciples in South India actually urged him to attend. And he began to see that as a way of putting into action his plan for rejuvenation of the motherland. So he wrote to Holy Mother, who was in Calcutta. And Holy Mother at first thought, no, that is impossible. I cannot allow my children to go. I cannot allow my favorite son, Narendra, to go to the West and risk all sorts of impossible situations. He doesn't know anything about what he's going to encounter there. So her first instinct was to say, no, why, my son, why should you do that? But she had a vision. And that vision is extraordinarily interesting. She saw in that vision, she saw the bank of the Ganga at Dakshineshwar. And she saw there was a bathing hut, there was a stair going down into the water in the area of the bathing hut. And she saw people were going up and down the Ghat, bathing in the Ganga. Then suddenly, on the top step of the stairs leading down to the bathing hut, she saw Sri Ramakrishna. Of course, Sri Ramakrishna had passed away many years before that. She had a vision of Sri Ramakrishna running down the stairs of the bathing hut and entering the water and melting into the water. This was a vision, melting into the water. And she didn't understand what the significance of this was. Why was this vision granted to her? But in just a minute, she saw the vision continued. Swami Vedananda, she saw Narendra Swamiji come down those same stairs that Sri Ramakrishna had been seen to go down and enter into water, melt into the water. Swamiji came down those same stairs, entered the water, and there were many people bathing in the area, a whole congregation of people bathing in the area. Swamiji took the water of the Ganga into which Sri Ramakrishna had melted, as it were. This is all in Mother's vision. And that water, which contained the essence of, you could say, of Sri Ramakrishna's personality, she saw that Narendra took that water and threw it upon the people who were bathing there. He was distributing that water that Sri Ramakrishna had melted into on the people all around. Then she understood, this was a vision, of course, she understood that there was a great purpose to Swami Vivekananda's being and to his life and to the things that he was supposed to accomplish. And in terms of that, the letter that Swamiji had written to her, asking for her permission to go to the West, attend this Parliament of Religions, Mother saw this as a direct embodiment of that vision that she had had, that Sri Ramakrishna's purpose had been to actually empower Swamiji to distribute the water of spirituality to people all over the world. So that is a tremendously significant vision. And of course, she wrote to Swami Vivekananda, send him her blessings. Yes, my son, go and do go to the West and do what you have suggested. So this is a tremendously important occurrence in the history of the Ramakrishna development, Ramakrishna mission. And so from Kanyakumari started the whole process of what we call Neo-Vedanta.